Hannah coming to you from the Beehive. Today I'm going to show you how to make these cute shamrock cards using the Hearts Collection framelits and the wonderful wreath framelits. I had to be a little bit creative because we don't have a shamrock die, so I used these two dies to create a negative outline for the shamrock. So let me show you how to make these. You're going to start off with a piece of Whisper White cardstock that is 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. And I'm going to use my grid paper to put some lines on this cardstock to use as guides. If you don't have grid paper, just use a ruler. And I'm going to find the midpoint of the short side, and that would be the 1 7/8 inch mark. And I'm going to make a line on my grid paper all the way through on the short side. Then I'm going to find the 2 3/4 inch mark on the long side here, and I'm also going to make a line across there. And then I'm going to find the 3 inch mark, and I'm going to make a line across there. So this is what your cardstock should look like. And now we're going to bring in the Hearts Collection framelits and my Big Shot. And we are going to use the second smallest heart. And I'm going to put one cutting plate aside here. I'm going to put my marked piece of cardstock on here. And then I'm going to put my heart on here. And I'm going to hold it up to the camera so you can see it better. So the point of my heart down here, I'm going to make sure that this top line here where they intersect, you can see a little bit at the bottom of this heart here. And then where my heart dips down, you're going to make sure it's aligned on this center line right here. And then I'm going to run it through the Big Shot. I'm using the magnetic platform, which really helps line up these framelits better than your standard platform. Okay, so now I'm going to cut a heart so I can have the leaf for the other side of my shamrock. I don't know if you call it a leaf or not, but okay, so on this one, I'm going to make sure that the inside of my heart, you can just see a little bit of the cutout of the other heart just inside the framelit. And this point is kind of right on my center line right here. And that one is on my top line. But my my dip of my heart is on this bottom line right here, okay? So the top one is kind of angled towards the top, and then my bottom one is on this bottom line right here. So then I'm going to take this and I'm going to run it through. And then we have to do the same thing for the other side. I'll show that to you, what that looks like in a second. So again, the point down here of the heart is going to be kind of at the midpoint. You're just going to see a little bit of the top heart up here in your framelit. I'll keep moving it around. And then this dip is going to be on this bottom line, okay? So once you've got that positioned correctly, I've knocked it over a few times already, then you're going to put your cover plate on and you're going to run it through. Okay. So now I'm going to bring in my wonderful wreath framelits. And this is the hanger that you would use if you were making a hanger for the wreath. That's the piece we're going to need. And we're going to use that to make the stem. So I am just going to take this. I'll show it with the camera in a second. So I'm just going to make sure it is centered along this middle line right here. And then when it's centered and it looks good, then you can just run it through. Take my top plate And we'll run this guy through. Okay, and now I can stick my big shot aside. And if you flip it over, you don't even have to erase the pencil lines because they're going to be on the back side. So before we do anything else with this, I'm just going to take my Mossy Meadow ink. And we have this cute Happy St. Patrick's Day stamp from the Teeny Tiny Wishes stamp set. I'm just going to tap, tap, tap this in my Mossy Meadow ink. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to stamp Happy St. Patrick's Day. And then I'm going to take a piece of cardstock that I've cut to 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. This is a piece of paper from the 2014-2016 In Color paper stack, and the color is Mossy Meadow. If we turn this over on the back side, we're going to take some of this Tombow glue, and I'm just going to run like a little bead around the edge of my shamrock. And see this big blob here? I'm going to spread that out. Don't want a big blob of glue. And then I'm going to hold this up. I'm going to put my Mossy Meadow piece down. And I kind of like it when my dots, at least on the stem, line up. So I'm going to kind of just position it so that I've got my dots kind of coming down the center here. I kind of like that. Move that over just a bit. Okay. All right, and to finish this off, we're just going to put it on a card base. And this is a piece of cardstock, a pistachio pudding cardstock, and I've cut it to 11 inches by 4.25 inches, and I've scored it in half at the 5.5 inch mark. And then I'm just going to take my bone folder and I'm going to use it to smooth out my fold. Okay, so we've got a little card base here. Then all I'll have to do is glue this right on here. So just take a little bit more of this adhesive, run it, make sure you get the corners so they don't stick up. Okay, and then we just need to center this right on the front like that. And there you go, a pretty easy Shamrock card. Now, I decided that I was also going to try and do the same card with a smaller heart and using a note card. So I'm also going to show you how to make that one. So for this one, you're going to need a piece of pistachio pudding cardstock, and I've cut this one to 3 inches by 4.5 inches. And I'm going to put this again on my grid paper. We have to also make some marks on this one. On this one, we're going to make a mark at the 1.5 inch mark. So you're going to find the midpoint, and that would be 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to draw a line up like that. And then we're going to need to make a mark at the 2 3/4 inch line over here on the side. And then we're going to go 1 tick down, and we're also going to mark the 2 5/8 inch mark. So this is a shorter distance apart. These will only be 1/8 of an inch apart. So here's what it looks like when you've marked it up. Okay, and now you're going to bring the big shot back into the picture. And now we're going to, instead of using the second smallest framelit, we are going to use the very smallest framelit. And kind of the same idea, I'm going to take my heart and I'm going to position the point right at that top intersection. Okay, and then my dip in the heart is going to be right on this line. And I'm going to run that through. Okay, pop that out. Then I'm going to come over here on the other side, and I'm going to make sure you can see a little bit of the heart I just cut out on the inside of my framelit, and then my dip is lined up with this bottom line right here. I'm going to go ahead and run that through. get rid of that heart. And then I'm going to do the same for the other side. I'm going to make sure I can see a little bit of the heart, the top part I cut out. I'm going to line up the heart that I just cut out. You can just see a little tiny bit of it on the inside of the framelit, and then the dip is on the bottom line like that. And then I'm going to take my cutting plate on there and we'll run it through. Okay. And then we can still use the hanger from the wonderful wreath framelits. We're just going to do it a little bit more creatively. And I'm going to actually take the fatter end. Let me move this down to a spot where my magnet won't fight me. So what I'm going to do is this time I'm going to put the hanger all the way through to the top part. So it's almost at the very top. And then I actually have my skinny end going down. I thought that looked kind of cute. And it just kind of comes down here. So it doesn't make a super long stem, because if we had it going all the way down here, it wouldn't look that great. It wouldn't look appropriate for the size. So let me just stay. It's fighting me. Okay. Let me just get it to where it's not fighting me. Okay. It's centered, and let me grab my cutting plate. And then let me run this through. Okay, so we have this little shamrock. So the baby shamrock instead of the other one. So again, we don't have to erase the pencil marks because we just flip it over to the other side. And then I'm going to take my Mossy Meadow again, and I'm just going to go ahead and tap, tap, tap. Oh, this is the wrong stamp. Sorry. We need the Happy St. Patrick's Day, and I'm going to tap, 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 and then I'm just going to find a spot right underneath, and we're going to stamp Happy St. Patrick's Day. All right, and then I'm going to need a piece of cardstock that is 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Again, this is the 2014-2016 in color paper stack, and this is Mossy Meadow again. And I'm going to go around the back with my Tombow glue. Just going to make an outline along the shamrock so that it sticks down. And then I'm going to hover it over again until I like the position. Make sure it doesn't stick out on the sides either. I'm just going to, I like to have the dots go down the center like that. That looks pretty good. And then I just need one of these Whisper White note cards. They come pre-cut and pre-scored. So all I have to do is fold them. They already have the crease in them. And let me just smooth on the crease with my bone folder. And then we just need to put some adhesive on the back of my card. The Tombow. And then you just put it right on the front. Like that. Make sure it's centered. Like so. All right. And then there you go. You've got some really cute St. Patrick's Day cards using kind of different things than you would normally think to use. So all the supplies that you'll need to make these cards will be available for purchase on my blog. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Bye for now.